On the Childish Gambino video, all the characters and the backgrounds were done in Flash, and then I composited them in After Effects. You know, I split out the characters, the backgrounds, and I composited them separately to give like a blurs and noise and depth of field. I try to, when a job is concerned, I try to keep my creative process really structured. So there's a concept stage where I work with the client or the agency to kind of nail the brief. And that might just be in written words, like dot points of what I want to happen. Then we'll have a design phase, which is character design, location design, trying to nail down a style frame. Style frame is like when you've got the finished character art against the finished background, composited together as a still image, as if it's like a freeze frame from the video. And we use that to really sell the client on our aesthetic. And then once that's done, we go into storyboarding and animatic. Try to be really clear with the storyboards and animatic on composition and edits and cuts and timing and everything. Get a lot of acting in there. And that's just black and white. So with the animatic and the design, you can kind of remove any guesswork for the client, just so they can see this is what a still frame from the finished thing looks like. This is what the plan, like the animatic is essentially a blueprint. Once I've done that, then it's on to production, and that's when we do backgrounds and character animation. We do rough stage and then clean up, and that's usually like a bigger team than just me, and that has its own, you know, structure, shot lists and spreadsheets and Dropbox and Slack approvals, and then finally compositing and sound. And we work with a sound designer to get the kind of audio that we want. But it's music or sound effects or voice. Yeah. I think structure is a great way to keep motivated. You know, I try to do 8-hour days. I cycle to work, so I get my exercise, and I try not to work overtime. I try to keep everything contained to the workplace. Obviously, with the time differences, there's like you'd be responding to emails outside of work hours, but setting yourself goals that are achievable and realistic and hitting them and never letting that slip is really important. In terms of like creative inspiration, I really think that the power of art, so film, music, TV, theatre, whatever, it has the power to change people's opinions and minds and educate people, and I think it's more important and powerful to the culture than, say, politics or religion sometimes, you know. It's really a way that humans empathize with other people. We share stories about our lives, and we crave that. So I watch films and TV and listen to music and think about art. So that's where I get a lot of energy from if I'm feeling flat. And the other thing is collaboration. I think collaboration is a great way to stay switched on and motivated. You know, working with other people, it's more than just like double the output. If you've got two people, you actually create better work because you're each other's eyes and ears, and you be critical with each other, and you push it further. Yeah. So I think a lot of people, when they're beginning, they're very shy about collaboration. They think it's like diluting the purity of their vision, or they don't know how to work with other people because they're not, socially equipped to. But I think it's been really important for my career to be able to work with other people and take feedback and collaborate. Yeah. Adobe Animate, which used to be Flash, kind of has a bad name in the animation world. People use it to criticize a lot of clumsy, cheap digital animation, but I think it's actually a really powerful piece of software. I use it for storyboarding, design, animation. On the Childish Gambino video, all the characters and the backgrounds were done in Flash, and then I composited them in After Effects. You know, I split out the characters, the backgrounds, and I composite them separately to give like a blurs and noise and depth of field. But yeah, Flash is it's a powerful piece of software, and because it's vector, you can infinitely scale it. So on the Gambino job, we have Donald walking constantly towards the camera and the background shrinking, and we're able to do that because it's vector art and it can be infinitely scaled. If we tried to do that in Photoshop or TV Paint or a different 2D program, it would have been such a headache to plan. We only had like 6 weeks to make that video, and it's 4 minutes. 2 weeks on storyboard and design, and 4 weeks on animation and backgrounds compositing. So I needed to have a reliable crew and a reliable pipeline, and not a lot of time to experiment. Yeah. And it was a style I'd never really tried to do before as well. I mean, that's the thing about experimentation. You get to challenge yourself, and it may not even be the style that I'm used to drawing, but it's you want to learn every method and then decide what you want to use and not use. If you have a really strict personal style, it's only going to be limiting. You can animate in Photoshop, you can do TV Paint, Flash. I use Flash and After Effects for compositing. I know people who use After Effects entirely, but for me, I want it to feel as much like drawing as possible. I don't want it to feel like pushing vector points around. Sorry, but I also do pixel art, which is dot by dot. That's very digital and very different to drawing. It's the simplicity that I'm drawn to in that. It's the way it's. You can communicate a likeness with 32 by 32 pixels. And I think there's like a beauty to that. But yeah, it doesn't really matter what software you use, and I think that's always going to change. You know, you can't like people were animating on paper and cell 30 years ago, and now it's all digital.